a very serious topic that I want to address today, and I'll need you to work with me. It's about what's going on in Nigeria today. I'm speaking about the pandemic. I'm speaking about how we're reacting to it. I'm speaking about the disobedient. And I'll also speak about our prayer meeting, which should start in about 20 minutes. So please work with me. Let's start with a prayer. Heavenly Father, Almighty King, I come before you to bless you, praise, and worship you. I ask for your wisdom upon this land at this time, and I ask for your grace to be sufficient for us, like it was for the Apostle Paul and the other apostles. I ask, Almighty Lord, for provision. I ask for protection. I ask for your mercy upon us, and I ask for your healing upon this land in Yahushua's name. Amen. We've seen the videos everywhere, people getting beaten for disobeying the sit at home laws. And we've seen all, the stories, the both sides. Switch on my Swift. We've seen the stories on both sides. Yes, that one. Sorry, the Spectranet. We've seen the back and forth, and there are many things I want to talk to you people about. First of all, I need you to understand that we're having a lot of problem on Facebook. Let me know, are you guys clear? Brother Shukwa, I can see you live on YouTube. Are we clear? Instagram people, are we clear? I know Facebook isn't clear, and I'm trying to work to change. So, Brother Shukwa, please quickly give me an update. Is it clear? Can you see me on YouTube? We're having serious issues on Facebook. Facebook is just simply not booting. So I'm changing the network on Facebook. Now, me having 3 networks to supply all the feeds, and I don't make a single naira off Facebook. I shouldn't really be on Facebook. It's just that we have people there who need to hear the message. It's not easy. But how come I'm able to have this data? Because I planned properly. And I'm going to go to many places today. All right, I've switched this. I think I'm going to just reboot. Just give me a second. I don't have much time either. Okay, so let's boot and let's go. I'm starting Facebook on a totally different network because it seems that this one isn't working with Facebook. Now, first things first, we saw all the people getting a treatment they got from the soldiers, and apparently someone even lost their lives in Warri today because they refused to sit at home. And the debate has been on. And although I sympathize with the young man who lost his life, I must tell you the truth. My job is to tell you the truth. You're not watching Daddy Freeze because of 2 Timothy chapter 4 verse 3. You're not, if you're watching me because I'm going to tickle what your itchy ears want to hear, then please unsubscribe, go, bye. But for those who want the truth as it is being ministered to my spirit, and it collides and coincides with scripture, reason, and logic, please stay. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Daddy Freeze Teaches. Set your phone preferences so you can see when I come online. But for those of you who fail, who don't like the truth, you want to hear soothing words, I'm not going to give you soothing words. Let me be honest with you. All of you calling and saying in the US and in Europe, abroad where we live, nobody. You see, abroad is a point of reference in many instances, not in COVID. Abroad failed. The US failed to curb the spread of COVID. Europe failed. Italy and the USA have taken over the death toll from China, and they're rising by the day. Land is being set aside for emergency morgues in the UK. Wake up, people. You are not going to get this democratically. One of the things And I started the Free Nation with from the beginning was a Free Nation is not a democracy. The Free Nation is not a democracy. The Word of God is not a democracy. The Word of Yahushua is not a democracy. The Nigerian version of Christianity, Jesus Christ is democratic. Yahushua was not democratic. It is this way or the highway. There is no middle ground. As a matter of fact, the scriptures speak of you being lukewarm and being spat out. It's either you're hot or you're cold. There's no middle ground in the scriptures. Paul, who tried to bring a middle ground by allowing concessions and saying, when I was with the weak, I was weak. When I was with this, he is the one that brought the confusion into Christianity, not intentionally, but because people leaned on his concessions to allow weaknesses to come into the body of Christ. So I need to tell you some home truths. I need to tell you some scriptural truths. I need to tell you some real truths. If we do not sit at home, people are going to lose their lives. You tell me, what do they eat at home? They had enough time to listen. We have 95 million people in extreme poverty, and I'm not going to blame the government alone for this. As a matter of fact, right now, the government is more or less broke. Do you need a soothsayer to tell you that the government is not? Yes, the little it's making is misplaced, a bit is misplaced, or a lot is misplaced. That's their business. But you need to understand right now that we're not making the kind of money we're making 20 years ago. And as much as you want to blame the government, I need you to start by blaming the man in the mirror. You need to start blaming the people, because the people made the government. I can never forget Exodus chapter 32. It was the people, not Aaron, that asked for the calf. Now, try this. Go to something as little as the Lekki toll gate. You will be in a line on a queue for 10 minutes, and a downfall will jump from the back and just come straight to your front and bully his way into your front, knowing that if you use your nice car to hit his car, last, nothing go do in your own motor, because your own motor now scratch from beginning to end. But your own motor go spoil. And I come down sometimes and I ask these people, I say, you sit here in this car and you complain about President Buhari. Are you not 10 times worse? Just go to that toll gate and see the worst people that will give you problem are the poor people. They are the most unruly. They are the most unreasonable. They have expectations from you, like they worked inside your hand and expect you to feed them. How many times have you ever seen a downfall stay in a queue and follow the queue to the end? When you see a nice car, look inside, you see that is a driver. The owner of his car, someone that bought a Range Rover or 50 million naira, will not come to the toll gate and drag road with you. Most of the time, I've done at least 4 videos. I stand on the line and you just see the downfalls coming from. And then they have that sense of entitlement. Like, yes, what can you do? I'm a poor man, so I deserve to go first. Let us, you see, the government, as far as I'm concerned, had its own fault. They didn't close the borders on time. If they did, blah, blah, blah. But now the fault belongs to the people, because the people refuse to be reasonable. Someone is telling me, if I sit at home, what will you eat? If you had, you see, we need to start being wise. I've been shouting about this pandemic from the beginning of March. As I'm shouting, Taste Buds is here. Taste Buds does not need a soothsayer. Taste Buds invested in masks. It's not like she had that much money. The little money she had, she invested in masks. When she saw that she couldn't cope, She bought rolls of tissue paper and we started doing hand. Amarachi, how many masks do you people do in a day? Like how many? 60 plus masks a day with those tissue paper with rubber band masks. 60 plus in a single day. The children sit down and do these masks to protect themselves. We stocked up the house with food. With the little we could buy, the little we could think of, okay, let's buy sardines, let's buy milk, let's buy this, let's buy that. We had a month minimum in planning. Minimum in planning. Now, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who now said, what about the person pushing a cart in the market who has children? My first question was, you are pushing a cart in the market. Why should you have children? It might sound mean, it might sound unreasonable, but you have no business having children if you're pushing a cart in the market. If you have a child, I'll understand. Okay, you want to know what it feels like to get married, and you want to know what it is like to have a child. No problem. Because between you pushing the cart and your wife that's selling pepper, the two of you would be able to find something for yourselves and your child. That guy pushing the cart in the marketplace has probably 3 children or 4 or 2 wives or a wife and a baby mama, and they all have kids. And then now it becomes our responsibility to take care of his kids. How long do you think we can sustain this formula? And I want to tell you, when Buhari said that Nigerians are lazy youth, I might not agree with him wholeheartedly, but I also cannot disagree with him wholeheartedly. I'm going to tell you my father's story. My father came from a very poor family, extremely poor family, but he was very brilliant academically. So he kept winning scholarships. And after a while, when he had guys, YouTube has logged off. I want them to be back so they don't miss out of the story. So like I was saying, my dad more or less worked as a houseboy to see himself through secondary school. We're back. Okay, if we're back, so let me continue. Now, guess what? My dad went to secondary school in Ghana with his family. They lived in Ghana. So they were about to be deported from Ghana. The bus was ready to take them to Nigeria. They had packed his whole family in the bus. And then he just asked his mother in the bus, saying, Mommy, when we get to Nigeria, what school am I going to? And somebody in the bus lab said, school. There's no school for you. You are going to farm. Hearing that, my dad was in his final year when Nigerians were deported from Ghana. I'm talking about the 60s, I think, or the 50s. No, most likely the 60s or the early 70s. And my grandmother said, because my dad's name is Gani, my grandmother said, Gani, Kilo Heshe. Said, they come down, no. Say he did in final level. Posh Mama 1967, God bless you. He said he did in final year for secondary school. Now exam remain make it right. Why should he at this stage go back to Nigeria? So my grandmother gathered all the copper pennies she had in her hand and handed it over to my dad, who now went to the back of the bus and brought down his box from the back of the bus and went to the secondary school where he was about to do his exam and lived in the classroom, not in the boarding house, in the classroom until the time for the exam. Now, because he would just wake up, have a bath, eat whatever is available for him to eat, and start reading. People in that school were now motivated to join him. So he more or less lived in the school until the exam was over. Now, while he's doing the exam, he also knows he stands the risk of being deported. So he was watching. There was one ship that was supposed to leave with destitutes from Ghana to Nigeria. So the ship was supposed to leave on the day of his last paper. Those are for people who did not have families, who could not find their way. They'll just get on the ship, and then the ship would drop them at the coast of Nigeria. So that's how my father finished his exams. Now went with that same box and went to wait at with those people that were going to go back to Nigeria at the port. Went there, sat on the floor, waiting for them to be evacuated back to Nigeria. On getting this, as in he had zero money. He got to Nigeria and hitchhiked, as in from one bus to the other, begged this person, beg. That's how he was able to make it down to our hometown in Oyon, from Lagos to Oyon. He was in Oyon when his result came that he passed his WAEC. He now moved to Lagos. He was staying with one of my uncles. He now would leave in the morning and start walking around looking for opportunities. That's how my father walked from, was it Shomolu to Victoria Island, or Ikeja to Victoria Island? I'm not 100% sure, but I know it's either from Shomolu or Victoria Island, or Ikeja to Victoria Island, because he heard that the Hungarian embassy was giving scholarships. When he got to the Hungarian embassy, the security guards told him that, we are sorry, as you were just coming, the last person just went with the last form, that the forms are closed. My dad nearly started crying. This is walking down from Ikeja or from Shomolu to VI. So when they saw that he was dejected and sad, one of the security guards now said, but I think they have in Romanian embassy too, they have scholarship. My father walked back to that Ikeja that night and walked back again the next morning. When he now got to Ikeja, to Victoria Island, he went to the Romanian embassy, and yes, the Romanian embassy was having a scholarship program, and he was able to register for it. At the gate, he told us the story, as he was going in, he called the security guy, said, what's the name of their president? He asked one or two questions that he felt that might come up in the exam. He went inside, and of course, those questions came in the exam, and he was able to pass. He moved to the second stage. Would you believe it? The foreign guy, the white guy that he did like houseboy work for in Ghana, was the one who was now one of the panel that was doing the second part of the exam. So he could attest to my father's hard work. He could attest to my father's brilliance. He could attest to my father's dexterity. Lo and behold, my father got the scholarship. He walked back, but this time with a scholarship. He was airlifted to Romania, came back with a medical degree, top of his class. I met my father's lecturers. He took me, when I was not doing well in school, he took me to Romania and he started introducing me to his lecturers. And they all said, how can you be this? You are this man's son and you are not doing well. He came back from Nigeria with a wife who at 21, my mother at 21 had her master's in law. My father came back with his medical degree. My mom came back with her master's in law. They had nothing. They didn't have family talk. What was my grandmother, they said, sold everything she had and gave to him as he was going to that Romania again. Just as she gave everything to him to stay back in Ghana. So by the time my father came, they didn't have anywhere to go to. They picked the pieces of their lives and worked to where they are today. Today, my mother is a professor of law, a vice chancellor of a university. She did not get there by sitting on her behind and crying. That level of hard work in my father, I do not see in this generation. Let me tell you something about myself. I'm, of course, a far cry from my father. Hard work for hard work, I'm probably 3% of my father's hard work. Maybe 2.5%. That's 2.5 out of 100 of my mother's hard work. But me, compared to the generation I see out there, at 19, I got my first job on the radio with BCOS Ibadan. You can ask the current head of stations of Cool FM, Femi Obong Daniels. We're colleagues in BCOS. I started in 1996. I was born in 1976, but I had not yet turned 20. So I was 19. I was going to become 20 when I got my first job. And I worked for the government of Oyo State because BCOS is a government-owned radio station. And I worked with them for 5 years till I was 25 throughout my stay in the university. When I left BCOS, I came to Cool FM with a degree in my hand and 5 years radio working experience. You drive between Lagos and Ibadan, you see empty land, and all you can build there is churches, and you have youths. That resilience my father's generation had. If you listen to people like Chief Afe Babalola, Chief Afe Babalola did not go to secondary school, and yet he's Nigeria's foremost lawyer. He taught himself while working in the marketplace during the day. He was teaching himself, studying at night. Where are those people? We have people who sit in their homes and complain about the government from morning till night. Where is the set of people who are ready to work, ready to plan? You tell me that somebody is pushing a cart in the market and he can't feed his family. And I ask you the first question, devoid of sentiments and emotions. I said, what business does he have having a family? You might get all emotional, you might get upset, but reason without your emotions, reason with your logic. They ask you, sit at home, you say, what are we going to eat? What happened to sardines? What happened to beans? What happened to rice? You know why you don't know what you're going to eat? Because for that 1 month that you heard this thing was coming, first of all, as usual, you listen to your pastors, you listen to Daddy Freeze that was warning you. I remember calling people from my family and telling them, watch out for this thing. They will close borders. I literally told them, Baba, forget that this year go rugged. That's what I can do to the public. Because he get everything I go talk, it go be like, say, I they conspire. I literally spelled it. I said, look, they're going to close the borders. Then they're going to close states. They're going to close inter-state travel. And they're going to make us sit at home. I said exactly how it was. They didn't listen. It's Nigeria. Our blood is stronger than coronavirus. In Nigeria, our heat to kill the coronavirus. I couldn't understand how the heat in Dubai, that is 10 times worse than the heat in Nigeria, did not kill coronavirus. It is now our own that we kill it. Is there a special heat Nigeria has? Or God is going to open one special oven over our head during this period? I'm asking you. You listen to the wrong prophets. They were telling you to pray it away. I knew you couldn't pray this one away. And this one has opened their waiting at the column. So you can now see the powerlessness, the hopelessness, the fraud in many of these people. You complain about the UK and the US. I was chatting with somebody. He said this year alone he paid $20,000, or last year his tax was $20,000. Then his house tax was $15,000. You pay that to the government every year. How hard is it for the government to put you on $2,000 a month salary for 10 months? You've only collected $20,000 back. Ask yourself, how much do you pay in Nigeria in taxes? How much? You don't pay taxes, you pay tithe. Every month, I told you experiences I've had with people. I know people who their tax will be 2.5 million. They'll dribble it down. And they'll end up paying 400,000 naira. Meanwhile, these same people's tax will be 1 million. These people's tithe will be 1,350,000 naira. They will round it off to 1.5 million. So you are in your mind, you don't want to rob God, but you rob the state. And in your robbing the state, you rob yourself. The government has little resources to deal with this pandemic. I said it from the beginning, the biggest miracle is medical science. Everybody fought me. They cursed me. They said all sorts of things about me. What is everybody looking at to now for a solution? Medical science. We've put ourselves into a box. Just like religion, democracy is a box. A lot of people are fighting me now, speaking of human rights. When humans behave like animals, do they really deserve human rights? Each time you go out there and disobey the stay-at-home order, you put a poor, innocent person who has a health disadvantage at risk. So you are the equivalent of a murderer. You are now telling me that if you stay at home, you will die of hunger. And I want to ask you, whose fault is it really? You complain about the government, yet you elected them. How many of you went out to vote? You will see that most people didn't go out to vote. Those that went to vote voted between two chairmen. The young minds, the Showores. And I told Showore, I said, look, you're wasting your time if you're not ready to start the movement from the mind, sensitizing the mind. Unless, I told him, I said, unless you're ready to work on the minds of the people, you are wasting your time. Our mindset is faulty. And now everybody's coming to my DM to ask me, when am I going to donate? Donate to what? Am I a billionaire? The advice I'm using in my life today, I've been giving it to you for the last 3 years. It has worked for me. The reason why it's not working for you is because you didn't listen. I have people who have said that the freeze, don't mind him, let him stop paying his tithe. Who will continue paying our tithe? Now they are in my DM begging me, crying every day. And I'm sorry, I can't help them. Isaiah could not help those people he warned when he was naked and hungry. And barefoot, I beg your pardon. How many of them could he help? He warned them. Ezekiel warned them. His job, my job is to warn you. My job is to make sure I help you uplift your understanding. Your job is to listen, understand, and then act. I cannot marry a wife for you. Then every night I will come and help you do what you are supposed to do as a husband. You see, people are sitting at home and saying, hey, is he only Gariubi? Let me read something to you from the scriptures. Go with me to the book of Numbers chapter 11. Soon the people began to complain about their hardship, and the Lord heard everything they said. Then the Lord's anger blazed against them. They are complaining about their hardship, and God is still angry with them. No, 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 no. And let's discuss this. Should I read it again to you? Numbers 11, verse 1. Soon the people began to complain about their hardship, and the Lord heard everything they said. Then the Lord's anger blazed against them. Against who? Against the people. And he sent a fire to rage among them. And he destroyed some of the people in the outskirts of the camp. Then the people screamed for Moses to help. And when he prayed to the Lord, the fire stopped. After that, the area was known as Taberach, which means the place of burning, because the fire from the Lord had burned among them there. Then the foreign rabble who were traveling with the Israelites began to crave the good things of Egypt. God is taking you somewhere, but you're craving another person's own. And the people of Israel also began to complain. Oh, for some meat, they exclaimed. We remember the fish we used to eat for free in Egypt. And we had all the cucumbers, melons, leeks, onions, and garlic we wanted. But now our appetites are gone. All we ever see is this manna. The manna looked like small coriander seeds and was pale yellow like gum resin. People will go out and gather it from the ground. They made flour by grinding it with hand mills or pounding it in mortars. They boiled it in a pot and made it into flat cakes. These cakes tasted like pastry baked with olive oil. The manna came down on the camp with the dew during the night. Moses heard all the family standing in the doorways of their tents whining, and the Lord became very angry. Moses was also very aggravated. And Moses said to the Lord, why are you treating me, your servant, so harshly? Have mercy on me. What did I do to deserve the burden of these people? Did I give birth to them? I'm not the only one asking these questions. Moses asked, he said, "Me mo biyini. I have told you what to do. You will not do. You will not listen." Numbers 11 and 12. Did I give birth to them? Did I bring them into this world? Why did you tell me to carry them in the arms like a mother carries a nursing baby? How can I carry them to the land you swore to give their ancestors? Where am I supposed to get meal for all these people? They keep whining to me saying, "Give us meat to eat." I can't carry all these people by myself. The load is far too heavy. If this is how you intend to treat me, just go ahead and kill me. Do me a favor and spare me this misery. And I want to ask you, what really happened? In the free nation, we never build our doctrines in the Old Testament. But I had to read this first, so I explain where I'm going to next. Go with me to John chapter 5. A lot of people are saying that the freeze, celebrities are doing giveaways. Why are you not doing giveaway? Let me tell you, a lot of people are doing giveaway for clout. A lot of celebs. If you don't know who you are giving money to, you are giving to the wrong people. Some people know how to manipulate the internet and make money off it. You are giving money to them. The real poor people are still in their homes suffering. I'm reading from the New Living Translation. Call your mom. Let's start the prayer meeting. John chapter 5. No, now. Sorry, guys, miscommunication with the prayer group. I thought we're going to start today. I thought we're going to start today, but we're starting tomorrow. So I'll just lead you in prayer. Amarachi. Yeah. All right. So before that break, because I felt we're supposed to start today, and we will pray. We'll have a prayer session right now. Go with me to the book of John, chapter 5. And I'm reading from 44. And this is Yahushua talking. No wonder you can't believe. For you gladly honor each other, but you don't care about the honor that comes from the one who alone is God. Yet it isn't I who will accuse you before the Father. Moses will accuse you. Yes, Moses, in whom you put your hopes. If you really believed Moses, you would believe me because he wrote about me. But since you don't believe what he wrote, how will you believe what I say? The people there, tell her to come up and gather everybody, let's do the prayers. The people there did not believe Moses. They did not believe Moses. They still do not believe Moses today. They just pretend like they do. And they don't believe Yahushua. Because if they believed Yahushua and Moses, they wouldn't. My father could have sat down in that bus and moaned and groaned. But instead, he decided to take the pieces of his life, pick up the pieces of his life, and go and see how he can move forward. My father could have decided to sit in Ikeja and moan and groan about his life. But instead, he went out every morning looking for opportunities. You have decided to moan and groan. Any war that you are aware of that is coming, no suppose catch you. We tell you all the time to prepare yourselves. Build schools. I've been shouting for 3 years you didn't build. Build hospitals, build factories you didn't build. The money you used to empower the church, you could have used it to empower the business sector. You are being manipulated by sentiments and emotions on every level. Yes, you don't pay tithe because you don't believe you should give money to church, but they are still manipulating you with emotions. The latest set of emotions are the poverty mentality emotions. And I want us to pray now. Father, I thank you for how far we have come. I thank you for the grace upon our lives. I thank you for your mercy and your understanding and your love. And I ask for forgiveness if we have whined in this situation. If we have failed to plan, I ask you for mercy. I don't know why you are angry in the book of Numbers, but maybe it is because the people refused to listen to the warnings of Moses, just as they refused to listen to the warnings of Ezekiel, just as they refused to listen to the warnings of Isaiah, just as they refused to listen to the warnings of John the Baptist and Yahushua. Father, forgive us. There's no sin greater than the blood of the Messiah. And it is this blood that I plead upon everybody listening to me right now. Forgive us for not listening to you. And save us from this plague. Bless those who are working on a cure. Bless our government. Bless us with resilience. Let us understand and give us the discipline we have so badly lacked in this part of the world. I ask for discipline for Nigeria. I ask for people to be able to obey government orders. This sit at home is not for the government, it is for us. Give us the grace, the understanding, the willpower to obey this. And when we come out of this, which we will by your holy grace, let us learn to do things differently. Let us learn to do things differently. We cannot continue the way we've been coming. We cannot continue funding religion and expecting medical science to take care of us. We can't continue paying tithe and expecting the government to take care of us with tax money that we didn't pay. We can't expect the churches to build, to the churches we built to take the place of the holes we didn't build. Father, have mercy upon this land. In Yahushua's name we pray. We're starting 3 days of prayer. From tomorrow, 12 noon, Taze Buds is going to be in charge. You need to pray. And I want to tell you something. All of you complaining that you're being beaten. People are being beaten. I do not agree with beating people. I never would. However, there's one thing that I can tell you. If you sat at home, nobody will come and beat you at home. I want to end with a reading from the book of Romans chapter 13, and I'm reading from verse 1. Everyone must submit to the government, to the governing authorities. Everyone. For those authorities come from the Lord, and those in position of authority have been placed there by God. So anyone who rebels against authority is rebelling against what God has instituted, and they will be punished. For the authorities do not strike fear in people who are doing right. They will not come and beat you at home, but in those who are doing wrong. Would you like to live without fear of the authorities? Do what is right, and they will honor you. The authorities are God's servants sent for your good. But if you are doing wrong, of course you should be afraid, for they have the power to punish you. They are God's servants sent for the very purpose of punishing those who do what is wrong. Let me tell you, if God has given the governing authorities the power, if they sentence you to death, nothing will happen to them. Unless they sentence you to death unfairly. If they say, do not walk between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m., if they do a shoot at sight between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m., your blood is on your head. The man who was picking firewood under the law, his blood was on his head. The Lord instructed Moses clearly in his regard. Take him outside the city, and there you give him the death penalty. Do I support the death penalty? No. Do I support inhuman treatment? No. But you see, here's the thing. I don't support, personally, I can't even run to the scriptures to protect you from it. Because if you go out and you disobey the governing authorities, anything happens to you, you are not even sure you will make heaven. No. Because you died in disobedience. Now, this is not a situation where government is being manipulative of government. This is a situation where you yourself know you need to sit at home. If you die, your blood is on your head, not on your government's head. Make we learn from the past. Government killed Christ. Nothing happened. No. Somebody writes, I did that as a post. Somebody wrote there, said, the whole world changed because of that sacrifice. I say, Christ, not sacrifice. If they kill you, nothing go do anybody. So stay safe. Sit at home is better than social distancing. Those countries that practice social distancing, now them be the epicenter of the pandemic now. Sit at home. Obey the voice of the Lord. So his wrath would not be upon you because he has given them the power. So that's why you need to be very careful who you elect into government, because once you elect them into government, their power becomes the power of God. I'm not reading you Old Testament too. I'm reading you the book of Romans. Somebody is telling me, guy, go home if you don't have something meaningful to say. I've blocked him. I'm in my home. You are watching me. So that's my message for you. Those who have ears, let them hear. Those who don't have ears, is your problem. The more you moan, the angrier God gets. God does not look at you and pity you for your moaning. He gets angry, especially when you were disobedient to his voice. God bless you all. God bless you all.